What's up, Melvin?
Yeah, hey Bart.
How you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Awesome. You got a hand
So
for us?
so this was an online home game between a couple of my friends and I. We'll have these home games on pokernow.com where you can kind of set blind levels and just play. This was a 50 cent one blinds. This was a nine-handed game.
So 50 cent a dollar. How deep are you guys?
$270 effective against the
Okay, so
main bet.
fairly deep. Okay.
Mhm. So there's four limbs to me in the cutoff, and I have King of Hearts, King of Clubs.
So this kind of plays
I
like a
make it.
typical sort of loose live game then, right? Four limps.
Oh, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
and this is why I
I'd
picked this
say I'd say
hand because
looser than live games
okay,
for
so
sure.
looser than live games, but if you could sort of transpose this online home game to like a Texas 1-3 match a stack game, is probably a similar dynamic, right? So four limbs hero, King of Hearts, King of Clubs in the cutoff. What did you raise it to?
So I made it $8,
Okay.
and now the big blind three bets me to $24.
Okay.
The All the limpers get out of the way, and it's back onto me, and I decide to call.
I would say, especially, I mean, unless you knew the guy, like, I mean, I would be doing a whole lot of, because he's incentivized to three bet. I would be doing a whole lot of four betting here. Now, Kings is not always four bet in very, very tight scenarios. Sometimes it's a partial four bet, sometimes a partial call, but I would be doing a ton of four betting here, if personally, you know.
Yeah, and I regret not four betting. It's not that I feel like I'm beat in any kind of way. I know I have the best hand in this scenario. It's just my thinking at the time was if my opponent's, making a play with something like ace jack, ace queen, uh, maybe even ace king and hits top pair, that in position I'd be able to win a bigger pot than otherwise. So I kind of, called with the kings just to let my opponent make a hand that was good, but not as good as mine. That was my thinking at the time. But looking back on it, yeah, it's just to four bet all the time. I feel like.
So a couple of two people saying, and I don't want to wash over this, is that you could certainly make this larger than $8 too. If you're talking about this type of dynamic, because what's the regular open raise size if no one's entered the pot?
It's usually about $3.50 to $4.
So you're only making it two times the regular. I mean, I guess you're making it four plus the limpers, yeah. But I think I could easily see 15 to $20 here. It's just something that's a little bit subtle. So you make it
Yeah,
eight.
for that price though, I feel like the limpers would fold out is the problem. It's a loose game. I've actually played in that Texas 1-3 match to stack,
Mhm.
but I feel like in this game, for 15 people would fold. I feel
Okay.
like the reason I got the free bet on me, as a re-squeeze, I read it as such,
So you're
was
calling kind of as you're sort of disguising the strength of your hand. That's what you're thinking about here by
yeah, and if
calling.
he's putting, a play on with ace 10, ace jack, and hits top pair or something like that, then I'll be in pretty good shape in position.
All right, so the pot looks like it's like about $52. Okay.
And the flop comes jack of hearts, 10 of hearts, three of diamonds.
Okay, and you've got King of Hearts, King of Clubs, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And the big blind now leads for 22.
Well, that's not surprising, right? That the big blind c bets here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided just call.
Yeah, I would think that that would be the standard play here with position. If you're just going to call here with kings pre-flop. So he bets 22 and you call. Okay, so
Yeah.
now the pot here is about 96, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And the turn comes the nine of diamonds. So
interesting.
jack of hearts, 10 of hearts, three diamonds, nine of diamonds. So it brings in a backdoor flush.
I mean, the other, just right off the top of my head here, because obviously what nine brings in is, king, queen. The big blind sort of small three bet size, just to 3x. If I were you and I had opened king, queen off here from the cutoff to 8 and the big blind made it 24, the pot's going to be like 36, like 16 to call with position. I would probably call if he used that type of sizing. I'm not saying that the big blind knows this, but because of his smaller than normal three bet sizing here, you should have some more hands. King queen off might very well might be one of those types of hands. So again, he could just be going
Yeah,
to
for sure.
continue to blast off
I
with
mean that
overpairs or a jack, but just something of note here.
Yeah, yeah. Being that deep, I'm definitely defending king queen offsuit or suited in position.
Well, king queen off isn't necessarily a defending hand, and what's interesting
Yeah.
here is that it's hard. A lot of times people will play by like preflop charts because the preflop charts don't account for limps, right? Because you're supposed to be opening tighter if you're a limper. If you're in the cutoff or on the button, definitely on the button, cutoff's probably pretty close. But if you're on the button and you open king queen off, and the big blind three bets you, that's a defend. 100%. It's a call 100%.
Yeah.
Now, you're in the cutoff and you did it over limps. At the same time, he might be taking a hand that he isn't that strong in three betting it, though, because he wants to get the limpers out. So, I mean, that's where I say, like, I would definitely call king queen off for 3x. Like I said, I don't know if this guy knows that, but it's interesting as the 9 comes in here on the turn. So, backdoor diamonds now, front door hearts. You've got king of hearts, king of clubs, right? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So yeah, so I'm not worried about king queen, and now the big blind leads for $55.
Okay, so you obviously have a gut shot now too.
Mhm.
So big blind bets 55 into 96. I think you have a call again, right? You're not thinking about doing
Yep,
anything
and
here, right?
and sure enough, I did decide to call, feeling really good about my hand, blocking king queen, thinking that he's continuing with maybe pocket queens, ace jack, a diamond draw, something like that,
Ace king,
heart draw.
ace king, ace queen. I mean, you do block some ace king, things like that. But let's, kind of see what happens here at the end. So the pot's 206 now. Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
And the river comes the 5 of diamonds, so it brings in the backdoor flush draw.
5 of diamonds,
And
backdoor flush draw. Okay. You do not have the king of diamonds in your hand. Okay.
and the big blind decides to shove all in for $169.
Here's the thing. So just like if I was playing a 1-3 match the stack game in Texas, and maybe like you were, say, instead of 270 effective, you were like 1,000 effective, and or let's say that, yeah, say you were like 1,000 effective, and we multiplied like all the bet size times 4. So instead of you opening to 8, you made it 32, and the
And
guy
that's
made it.
exactly why I decided to call this hand in, is because I don't know how I'd respond to a spot like this at 5-10 or 2-5 where
Well, I'm just saying that, like, if I put myself in a 1-3 match the stack game and multiply everything by 4, so we're at the end and the pot's like 800, and then the river comes in the backdoor diamond, and now he bets 580 in 800. I don't make big folds at low stakes here all that much, and it's not like this is so much different than you were talking about, like bet folding the river. This situation is just so much different than you betting the river and getting raised, or betting the river for value and getting check raised. This is a guy that 3-bet you and just barreled off 3 streets. You just sort of close your eyes and call. There's no way I'm folding here. It's a little bit unfortunate that you don't have a diamond. You do lose to obviously a backdoor flush if he's got some bullshit like ace-6 of diamonds, or some bullshit like a suited connector, but you're blocking king queen. Yeah, he could have jacks. Yeah, he could have tens, something like that. But who knows? I mean, is there a possibility that he thinks queens is the nuts here too? Like, he just doesn't know what to do, and he's got less than a pot-sized bet?
And that's what I was telling myself, because I couldn't really find the bluff. I couldn't really find the bluff per se, and then it crossed my mind. If he has ace jack with pocket queens and thinks it's the nuts, I'm sure he's gonna go for value on the river. It's just I don't know if pocket queens or ace jack takes this sizing.
I mean,
Especially when the draws have gotten there. The backdoor diamonds.
yeah, I mean, a backdoor
And
draw got
having
there. I mean, does the guy even see the backdoor draw though?
no, and having the king of hearts myself, though, I feel like hands he would 3-bet that flopped the flush draw with hearts. I mean, the only hand available really is ace queen of hearts.
What about if he just like went bet with ace king here?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and my thinking is I block ace king.
Sure.
So
No, I mean, you block ace king, but I mean, there's still another 8 ace king combos though, right? Just because you have 2 of the kings, if he's three betting off all of the king X. I mean, here's the thing. I think it's probably pretty close. Like, from a theory perspective, it's probably pretty close, but I do not make these types of folds at the low stakes because I've seen too much kind of stupid shit. To simplify it, but this is much, much different than if you get a response with a sort of a raise at some point, especially after the flop, whether it's on the turn or on the river. It's a much, much different scenario where I can make huge, huge hero folds, even to the point where like I have check raised folded for value with the second nuts in Hold'em on the river. I've check raised folded for value on the river in a given scenario. That's to one extreme, but I'm probably not going to fold here. Like I said, it's slightly worse that you've got the king of diamonds. What ended up happening here?
So yeah, my thinking was, so I ended up tank folding, and looking back on the hand, and in the moment, I definitely would have called if I had two black kings. It's just kind of taking some of his front door flush draw combos that missed, that would want to barrel for three streets out. Having the king of hearts, I decided to fold having the king
Well,
of hearts.
let me stop you there though, because I mean, well, it depends on how you perceive this guy, right? Because if you
And
if you're
that's the thing, is I haven't played with him before, so
because
he was a new player in the
but
game.
you're trying to take theory and saying that, well, I would definitely call with black kings, but remember though, a heart draw is not supposed to bluff at the end, right? If he has bluffed hearts and he's playing by theory, that's not supposed to bluff at the end, right? So it doesn't matter if you had two black kings then, right? Because you're saying, well, if I didn't have the king of hearts, I'm blocking his bluff, his heart draws. But he's not supposed to bluff a heart draw though at the end in theory, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm just saying. So,
Yeah, and what also kind of got to me is in a live game it's one thing, but this is a game among some college students, and $169
even so, I'm calling.
A lot of.
I don't know. Maybe you're looking at it a different way. If it's a bunch of college students, I don't know. I mean, it could go the other way. You're right. Like if it's a guy's on his case money, college student, and he doesn't have much money. I mean, then that's a whole. I mean, that's like a background thing. What ended up happening? So you folded. What did you show?
So I folded, just thinking he wouldn't take this sizing with ace jack or queen queen, and his only bluffs would be ace king, and I block it, with the heart. So after the game, I kind of I actually called him up about this hand, and told him what I folded, and he ended up having ace king. He had the what combo did he have? He had I believe it was the ace of hearts and the king of. I don't know what combo. I'm looking at my notes about this hand right now, but he ended up having ace king.
You called him up and he knew the combo that he had in this college game? Ace of hearts, king, X?
No, I remember looking back at the ledger. So on Poker Now, it has the
ledger. Right. You can see the hand histories. That's cool. Oh, yeah, because a lot of these places.
Yeah. So no, it was ace of diamonds, king of spades he had, and I asked him about why he played it that way and all that, and he said just due to the fact that he thought I was squeezing light and just calling him the whole way, that I didn't have all that strong of a hand, which, I didn't expect, him to read that deeply into the situation. Had I been playing against a competent player who might think my range is capped to one pair, or something, I think I would have made the call. Even holding the king of hearts is just, I did not give the villain credit for thinking I might be weak just due to me flat calling,
like I said, I don't really make big folds like this, like with a given dynamic. I think that sometimes you might be giving your opponent too much credit. He might not be bluffing with the right hands, right, in a given scenario. Now, on the flip side, on the other extreme, it could be, like I said, his case money. But I would have called. I didn't know the result. I'm not saying that I called it out, but I mean, obviously there are 8 combos of ace king available. But I appreciate the call, Melvin. Thanks for submitting. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to this channel down below. And to get more live cash game no limit training, head over to crushlivepoker.com and you can use the code YTA400 to get the first 30 days for free.